It's 2 o'clock. Here we go. We're just starting that. Welcome, everybody. I'm Peter Martin. We've been having fun in here. You haven't missed anything. We've just been talking about where we're from. We're going to get started with the lesson in about 5 minutes. If you're just getting in, could you let me know where you are in the world? We've got a bunch of folks that have done that already. I've just been warming up, which is kind of part of what we're talking about today. What can you practice in 10 minutes? So I'm just going to play a little bit. If you guys want to sort of drop where you are, I might do a little bit of this. I'll try to play like some Michigan stuff. 2 miles west of Lake Michigan. Oh, in Wisconsin. I'm just warming up, improvising. Playing over nothing in particular. See if I can do 2 things at once here. Whatever feels good. Nothing's wrong when you do this. I mean, you can't do anything wrong because you're... Hans Groiner was in the house here 2 weeks ago, Mr. Larry Goldings, which was fun. We did an amazing, what's going to be an amazing Hammond B3 course with him. I learned so much. I still can't play it very well. Sacramento, Sacktown, is that right? Come on in. We're getting started in about 2 minutes and 53 seconds. Tactical things. What I'm doing now is just having fun, just jumping around. Sophia and Brussels. How are you in 2 places at once? I don't know, but that's awesome. Lisbon here. Yes. What's up, David R? Haven't seen you in a minute, brother. I think last time I saw you in person was in Palm Springs. It was hot AF, as it often is there. Open Studio Pro, we want to join you. Yes, join. We got some cool stuff coming up with Open Studio Pro. Seasons. Slovenia. I've been to Slovenia one time. Minute and 30 seconds. Well, you can see the time here. New York in the house via Antigua. Kazakhstan. South Germany, Southern Germany in the house. Let me know where you are. Vancouver, British Columbia. Java Jazz Festival. That's what I was thinking of. Not the other thing. Brazil's here. All right, we got a bunch of stuff. We got 20 seconds. We're about to do this. I'm really excited about this. I'm feeling the pressure, but I think we're going to have some fun. 4 ways to practice in 10 minutes. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, 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 boom. Boom. I hope this is finding everybody doing well. All right, let's get this party started. There we go. What's up, everybody? I'm Peter Martin. Thank you so much for being here. Today, we're going to be talking about how you can fast track your practice in just 10 minutes a day. Now, we all want to have 2 hours, 1 hour, 7 hours, 10 hours in order to practice, but we have lives, we have jobs, we have children, we have loved ones, we have many different things. We might have a beach to go to. We've got mountains to climb and all these kinds of things. And so I was thinking about, like, what is the minimum amount of time? We're always getting asked this at Open Studio. It's like, I only have 10 minutes a day I don't know why 10 minutes always comes up as the minimum, but it's like, I've only got 10 minutes a day to practice. Can I get something out of your courses? Can I get better as a player? Can I get better as a musician? And I used to think, no, you couldn't, because I was focusing on, you got to practice for an hour. And actually, if you practice for an hour, if you do it correctly, take a break and then practice for another hour, you're going to get even more out of your practice, because those have been the times when I've gotten the most out of my practice, when I get into these intense moments. But as we started to develop different programs and I've just thought about practice and stuff, I realized that I do think that 10 minutes is kind of the minimum amount of time. Now, to caveat this, that doesn't mean you start the timer for 10 minutes and then, then you start thinking about, okay, where's the piano? Let me open things up. Let me get my seat. This means you're seated at the piano. You're ready to go. You're focused. Your notifications are off. Your phone's in another room. That you're really committing to like 10 minutes of really insightful practice. So don't take my word for it. We're going to go through 4 different ways to practice for 10 minutes today. Number 1, technique. Number 2, improvisation. Number 3, ear training. Number 4, shapes. And we're going to do these in real time. At least number 2, number 3, and number 4 in real time. We're going to kind of whiz through number 1, an abbreviated version, but I think you'll understand how that can be 10 minutes. And we're going to see, if this works or not. And the idea with this is you could take any one of these 4 techniques on any particular day and say, oh, look, I've only got 10 minutes. Let me focus on this. Instead of trying to practice 2 minutes on 5 different things or 2.5 minutes on 4 things, we're going to devote that entire time to this sort of practice. Now, can you take these 4 things 10 minutes and do 40 minutes a day? Absolutely, especially if you give yourself maybe a minute or 2 break in between. You can also certainly stretch these things out. But I do think it's fun, and I'm definitely interested in the challenge of what can we get done in just 10 minutes, okay? So we're going to start with technique. I'm going to give you a quick explanation, and then we're going to start the timer once we actually start practicing. I'm going to give, partly from my own practice, this is what it's going to look like. Don't get too focused on it. Now, it says 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Don't worry about that. We're going to be going through all keys for this technical practice, but I'm only going to take you through 3 keys out of the 12. So it's like 1/4 of the total amount. So the timing on this should come out, if you take them through all keys, that it would be about 10 minutes as well. Okay? So for this, we're going to take any kind of scale. I might go through a few different ones just to demonstrate it for you. I'm going to do it with 2 hands. If you need to start with 1 hand, if you need to go slower, that's no problem. We're going to meet you wherever you are. I'm going to go through probably, like a little more complicated scale and a little simpler scale. Obviously, the major scale is going to be the one that's easiest for most people, so that's fine to do it over that. The key to this is to do it in these 4 different ways, right? And I'm going to take you through it as we go. We're going to play it straight. We're going to play it in tenths. We're going to play it in broken thirds. And we're going to go in contrary motion. So no matter what scale you do, you're going to do it in all 4 of those ways. Are you ready? Let's get this going. We're going to start at 2 minutes and 30 seconds. So here we go. We're just playing it straight. We're going to go up 3 octaves, C major, correct fingering. If it's not correct, that's okay. And because we're going to go through all keys, let's go right into it. We only got 10 minutes. We only got 2.5 minutes. So now we're on D flat major. Paying attention to my sound, my phrasing, my general positioning. Then we're going to go to D major. That's going to be our last one. But if you're doing 10 minutes, you're going to take it through all keys. How are we doing on time? Good. So pretend like you just went through all keys. Now we're going to go in tenths. Same thing. You might have to slow this down. You might make some mistakes. That's okay. And as you go through all keys, I'm going to speed it up a little bit. As as you go through all keys, you can do it chromatically like I'm doing it, or you can go in circle of fifths. All right, now we're gonna go broken thirds, okay? You would take that through all different keys. And I'm gonna switch the scale. You'd probably wanna stay on the same scale. So we're gonna do the diminished half whole scale. We're breaking up our thirds. Same thing, going up 3 octaves. I'm gonna go faster because I looking at the timer. Got me nervous. Got me messing up too. Moving up chromatically. Then you would go through all the rest of those 12 keys. The last way is contrary motion. You can start simply with this. So we're gonna go C major scale, coming into middle C. Then go out on D flat. Come back on D. Am I gonna make it? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Boom, we did it. That was 2.5 minutes, and if you had gone through all keys, that would be 10 minutes. But I didn't want to bore you guys, and I know technique is not for everybody, but technique should be for you, so make sure you get this into the rotation. They're going to get a little bit more exciting as we go, but the idea is that we're doing things in all keys, whatever it is. So if you need to slow stuff down and you can only do the parallel with major scales, 3 octaves, going slower, same thing in all keys, and that takes you 10 minutes, no problem. If you can get through, 2 out of the 4, but again, it's playing them straight, parallel, 3 octaves, playing them in tenths, and that's no matter what kind of scale you do. If you're doing the half whole, if you're doing the something more advanced like the altered scale. But if you do this kind of practice, these 4 ways, through all keys on the scale of your choice, and you really can be random. You can just be like, I feel like doing this. I feel like doing that. It doesn't matter. What matters is going through all the different keys and practicing it in different ways. 10 minutes on that, you can really start to get your technique locked in. You're getting your fingerings locked in. You're getting the evenness, independence of the hands, that kind of thing. All right. Number 2, should we go back and look at our list just to get you focused on what's happening here? We've got technique done. These next ones are going to be 10 minutes each. So you can schedule your tea or coffee, whatever you're doing. Or maybe you're at a keyboard. That's good too. Number 2 is improv. Now, what we're going to do with this, let's look at this. This is the blues. I just sketched out the basic blues. We probably all know this. That's all good. This is just to kind of give you something to focus on. But the idea here is that we're going to take 10 minutes and go through, you guessed it, all 12 keys. Are we going to do 2 choruses? Yeah, we're going to do 2 choruses each. And we're going to see. We might have to speed things up a little bit. But we're going to start at a nice medium tempo. And we're just going to play whole notes in the left hand. 4, 2, 3, 4. And so if you've never done this before, the discipline of this, the independence of the hands, I'm starting on C7. C blues, of course. And I'm just playing these roots to all these chords, like 1 to 6. Now we're at the last 4 bars, 2 to 5. If you don't know Roman numerals, you got to learn them, okay? How are you going to go to Rome and you don't know the Roman numerals? So we got 1, 4, 1, 1. But we're going whole notes in the left hand, and then we're going to improvise in the right hand. And you're going to improvise as simply or as complicated or as in the middle as you want to do it. This is an exercise that, and a way of practicing that meets you where you are, okay? So don't feel like you have to play what I'm playing. You can play simpler, you can play more complex, you can play in a different style. But the idea is we have the restriction of the blues, and this 1 4 1 1 4 4 1 6 2 5 1 5. You'll hear it. Restriction of this blues, the restriction of the left hand just playing whole notes, so very much a restricted practice, and then we can do whatever we want in the right hand, but we're going to go through all keys. Now, again, like on the technique practice, you can go through chromatically, you can go through circle of fifths, you can go through circle of fourths. I'm going to do circle of fourths just to kind of mix it up, but the idea is that we're going to hit all 12 keys, and I'm going to be looking at the time and make sure that this comes out right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just whole notes in the left hand. whatever you want in the right hand. If you're less advanced improviser, just try to play something that sounds good, right? 2 choruses each key. Uh-oh, I played half notes. That's okay. I gotta get focused again. We want that restriction. Now I'm gonna go up to F. 1, 4. Keep moving. B flat now. Key of B flat. Now just to get you ready, when you get to some more difficult keys, it's going to get harder just to make sure that you're hitting these correct chords on the whole notes in the left hand. So I'm not going to be able to play all that stuff. You're not going to be able to play as much as you think you can. So take advantage of it on these keys that are maybe a little bit easier. Because the thing is, we want to keep going to E flat now. You can play chords, you do whatever you want. Keep the consistency of those whole notes in the left hand. Down to the 6, to the 2. Let's go to A flat now. As we get to the harder keys, do some extra choruses there, because you always want to be practicing more on stuff that's harder for you, right? Don't just stick on C, F. Now I haven't got to the ones that are really hard, but I'm about to. Now D flat. So I'm starting to really focus in now. The 6. Maybe I do that just to make sure I get there. 2, 5. If I need to concentrate just on this, I stop playing in the right hand. Let's do another chorus of this. Kind of your minimum commitment is keeping this going. If you can do other stuff, that's great. If you just do this, that's good too. We're practicing for 10 minutes. We're getting something done, right? Now I'm starting to think about, where am I going? Up a 4th to G flat. 1 to 4. And you hear the kinds of things that I'm playing are very much focused on being melodically right in the tonic. Even as I move through the different chords. Let's do another chorus on this. To the 6, to the 2, and the 2 can be dominant or minor. Let's go to B now. Measure early. See, I'm not concentrating. 6. Let's do another chorus here. I didn't feel very focused on this. I mean, I mostly kept it going, but so let me recommit to the acclimating to that blues scale over the tonic. One more time. Up to the fourth. Same riff. I'm starting to sing to try to connect myself. Let me check my time. 4 minutes, good. 6. And then if you're not sure, you can also count to get yourself acclimated to the key. 5. Now let's move to E. Chorus that. Minutes is longer than you think when you're playing continually, right? That's a great thing about maximizing, I would say, 10 minutes. It causes you to concentrate, and really, now we're going to go to A. And really commit. Six. Commit back with the blues. With that blues scale. Now we're going to go to D. It takes me a minute to hear the next one. And see how much more time I have. I got time to do another chorus. So I'm getting more confident because I know this key better. Now, the main thing I'm having to concentrate now is not playing. That's what I want to do, but I'm not going to do it. I did it. I got one more chorus. Then we started on C, right? Did you hear that? Started to lose my concentration. To 6. And if you know how to play these blues in a lot of different ways, this is a great restriction to just stick to this version. This isn't the only version, but this is the one I want you to, I'm suggesting that you practice for this 10 minutes. Because that's your restriction. In the right hand, you can play actually other changes. Oh, that worked out. All right, so that's 10 minutes of improvisational practice. I think it's an interesting way to do it. Like, you really start feeling it. Like, we don't think about, like, how much are we actually, like, playing continually for 10 minutes? Yeah, we might do it on a gig, on a tune or whatever. But a lot of times we let our practice get kind of fragmented. You know, we go in and out of doing something. We'll practice scales for like 4 minutes. We'll practice over blues for like 75 seconds. And we feel like, oh, I've got that. I'm going to move on. I'm feeling good. But like 10 minutes is, you know, pretty serious. So like that's what's fun about these 4 different ways to do them is really committing to each one of them. Okay, how are we feeling? We got 2 done. We've got and just to refresh us, what are we doing here? We've got technique. We've accomplished that. We've got improv. We've done that. Now we're going to go into ear training, and then we're going to hit shapes. Shapes is the fun one. And that's going to be a challenge because I picked a kind of challenging shape, but that one's going to be cool. Now, ear training. This is a great one, actually, in the progression here to kind of focus us because we just did a lot of playing. We just played in all 12 keys. We just improvised, you know. We just, like, took ourselves to some, like, different places, and we didn't stay anywhere for more than, I think, 2 choruses at a time. So we had to sort of refocus quickly. It's kind of like, you know, if you're a pilot and you're flying to this city and then you take off and you're going to the next, what's the weather? What's this? Like you have to concentrate as you move through that. So that's part of that 10-minute exercise. For the ear training, this is really going to be kind of about you committing to meeting yourself where you are. We're going to start this right now. Okay, so we're going to be thinking about where we are with our ear training. We're going to take a deep breath. And then think about really, this one's going to be less about trying to maximize every second and really try to stretch ourselves. So we want to be able to accomplish some things and we want to be able to nail some intervals and naming some notes and some scale tones and stuff. But we also want to be making some mistakes and making some adjustments. So we're going to start at middle C. And what we're going to do is we're going to think about another note. I'm going to start with an F, and I'm guessing, I know that this is an F, but I'm going to sing it first, F, and then I'm going to check it with the piano, right? So we have our reference point that we play. That's where we're starting. We're going bum, F. Now we're going to take another note, and you could look at it, you could think about it, and you want to do ones that you know. Eventually, you're going to want to know every interval, but this is about challenging yourself. So we're going to go F, A flat, I'm sorry, I'm still on F. C, A flat, okay, I got that one. And then we're gonna go C, E, okay, we got that one. C, B. As you can hear from my poor quality and not unattractive singing, it's not about the voice, it's about trying to nail these pitches. If you're a little bit off, that's fine or whatever, but just do it to whatever your ability is. C, B flat, right? C, F sharp. Ooh, I don't know what I was saying. F sharp, F sharp. Okay, so then I would take that and I'd be like, okay, this is a mistake I made. Let me see how I can lock in. And this is a difficult interval, right? Donna, tritone, C, F sharp. You want to get a reference point. C, F sharp, make sure you got it. And then C, F sharp, where is it leading to G? So we got G before, C, G. So you might go C, G, F sharp. And then you check that. Or you might go C, F, F sharp, C, F sharp. You can get it from above or beyond, but you take something that you know like that. C, D. Now we might think that these are easy, and they can be, but C, D flat. But they can be tricky when they're close to C, E flat, C, E, C, A, C, B, C, B flat. Okay, so we're doing everything within an octave here. Now we're going to go down. C, A, C, G, C, F sharp. There's that tritone, so I'm getting a reference point. What does it sound like going down? C, E. So I skipped a note. Don't just go chromatically. Challenge yourself. C, 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 D flat. I got it. Pretty good. C. Now I want to get A flat. I need to think C, G, A flat. So I go down C, A flat. Got it, okay? So I'm using reference points, even though I know these. C, B flat, right? C, B, right? C, A, C, E. Okay? So that's going through octave, going up, going down. You can do that for about 3 minutes, 4 minutes of your time. Now we're going to take the same thing, but we're going to think about them as intervals. So I'm going to go C, fourth, C, perfect fourth, right? And then maybe I'm gonna extend it one more, same interval, C, perfect fourth, right? And now I'm gonna do that one down, C, well actually no, we're gonna just do up and then we'll do down. C, major third, maybe one more. So I'm not thinking about the notes, C, E, G sharp, B, I'm thinking major third, okay? Let's do a minor third. C, 1, minor third, diminish, right? Let's do something a little more challenging. C, tritone, there we go, and then tritone, right? Let's do perfect fifth. C, fifth, perfect fifth. C, boom, perfect fifth. Up to that. So I counted up to make sure I was right. That's fine. Right? C, perfect fifth. A 1, major 6. Major 6. There you go. Okay? Do a little bit of that going down. 1, perfect fourth down, right? Tritone down, minor third, right? Major third. Okay, so that's the way we're going in and finding the different things. So that's notes, that's intervals. Now let's do a little bit of 1, 4, 5, flatted fifth, that kind of thing, because a lot of times so like we have a C7, sharp 11, or raised fourth, we want to kind of be able to hear those. Again, our reference point is C. We got 10 minutes. We're using the same reference point for these 3 different ways to practice. We certainly could and should start this from all different keys, all different registers, so that we're developing our ears. We're confusing ourselves a little bit, making us focus on our ear training. So we're going to go fourth. I got the tritone stuck in my head. Fourth. There we go. Fifth. Flatted fifth. Major 6. Major 7. Major third. Sharp 11. Fourth. Flat 9. Or flat second. Ninth. Right? Third or 10th. Third, minor third, or minor 10th. Did I get them all? Dominant 7, 6, flat 13, fifth, that kind of stuff. Now we're gonna do the same thing going down. So we got 1, down to the 5th, down to the 3rd, sharp 11, flat 13, major 7, there it is, yep, 6, 13, dominant 7, that's minor 6, there we go. Say, make a mistake, correct it, see if you can, and then check it. Dominant 7, flat 9, is that right? I sound creepy as I'm saying this, but that's what it is. And then the kind of last part of this is taking some of these and applying them. So if I go fifth, sharp 11, no, that's fifth, refocus yourself, fifth, I was off, I was doing that, fifth, now I'm going to use that in a voicing, fifth, ninth, sixth, right, so C is still your reference point, fifth is on top, now I'm going to do major 7, fifth, ninth, sixth, so that's your voicing. What else can we do? Let's do that, flat 13, sharp 9, sharp 11, flat 9, right? C7, sharp 9, sharp 9, sharp 11, flat 13. Let's go to the fourth and do a fourth and do a sus, right? Fourth, ninth, root, dominant seventh, 13, right? Oh, let's do something different. Up to the root, so I know I can come down to the major 7, but then I'm going to do a raised 5th and a major 3rd, right? And then I might move down to a dominant 7, sharp 11, regular 9th, dominant 7th. Some great ways to challenge yourself. Let's go straight 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 13, same thing. And then we're gonna go 3rd, 9th, dominant 7th. And then we want to add a sharp 11, or let's turn it into a sus with the 4th. Boom, 10 minutes of ear training. Now, you do that every day, things start to open up. Okay, how we doing? Let's take a breath. Why am I yelling? Because I'm excited. Check in. Is everybody still here? That would be weird if you weren't. Thank you guys for being here. We got one more. This one's a lot of fun. This is shapes. So just as to refocus ourselves, we're fast tracking our practice, but we're doing a bunch of them. You can do any of these in a day. Like literally you could do 10 minutes. Now, if you do all 4 of these, that's 40 minutes of practice. Maybe a little bit of a break, a minute or 2 in between. Maybe that's 50 minutes, 48 or something. You're going to be getting somewhere, you know. And there's other stuff, of course, repertoire, learning solos, all that kind of stuff. But number 4, shapes. I'm really excited about this one. Oh, I forgot to do these fun little things. Shapes. There we go. Okay, this is inspired by my mentor, my teacher. He's my teacher, even though I never got a lesson with him. I got a lot of lessons with him. This is Mr. Ellis Marsalis. I sat watching him on mini gigs. I got a chance to hang out with him, tour Europe with him. Saw him so many times at Snug Harbor, just doing amazing piano stuff. A lot of my style and stuff is based upon things that I learned from him. So big thanks to him. And I was working on a transcription over at Open Studio for a jazz piano method lesson actually this morning. So this inspired this shape. And I haven't really practiced it, I'm going to warn you. But this is actually good because this is sort of the way that we want to practice these things, is to be able to take something in one key, and this is going to be another one of those take it through all keys, and struggle through it a little bit and see what we can find, because that's where that progress is, right? If we're in the gym and we're just doing weights that we know we can do, I mean, that'll keep us in shape, but that's not going to push us to that next level. So this is going to be about pushing you a little bit. Now, if this voicing is too complicated for you to take through different keys, you don't want to get frustrated, you can literally do it with anything. You could do it with like a 2-5-1 with just shell. It's just root, 7th and 3rd, root in the left hand, 7th and 3rd. This is based upon a 2-5, A minor 7 to D13, sharp, flat 9, sharp 11, which is fun, and we're not even going to resolve it. But this is what it is, and it's in, if you stick around to the end, I'll tell you what this is from, because we have the whole transcription actually available over at Open Studio. But we're just going to call this the Ellis chords right now. So these are fantastic shapes. They're fantastic voicings. The voice leadings are really good. At least I think so. It doesn't really matter if you like them or not. It'll make it more fun if you like them and you want to incorporate these into your playing. But this is more about being able to navigate different things, you know, connecting with the ear training and the technique that we've done before. But it's also like shapes are not just for having great voicing and being able to like do voice leading. They're also about, oh, we got to start our timer, right? So we're going to start practicing too. Okay, so we're taking this shape and we're going to just sort of analyze it before we jump into going through all the keys, because we want to make sure that we understand it so that we're not having to transpose. So we've got an A minor 11, and we just start to look at the construction of this. Okay, what is the first thing I see? I've got root and 7 in the left hand, and then so I'm playing that and then moving up to here. This is also a great way if you can't reach the whole thing. It's already broken up for you. You can catch that with the pedal, right? But the idea is we've got root 7 and then 9th and then minor 3rd. So we've got 9th and 7th, but we've got that little bit of cluster. That's the only cluster that's in there, because everything on top, these are all stacked thirds, right? And we're going up to the 11th, 9th, 7th, 5th. See how it connects with the ear training? Minor third, 9th, 7th. So if you play it without that minor third there, the crunch, it's not as good, right? So we can do a little bit of just like, wait, how do we do this? Oh, that's right, we're breaking it up. Just a little bit of jumping around chromatically so we start to understand this voicing a little bit. It's okay if you can't do this, we'll do this as we go as well. But that's the first chord, A minor 11, and then we're going, the most important thing to be able to hear, and right? Now, what do we see on the construction of this D dominant chord? We've got root, 3, 7. That's just root and shell on the left hand. Easy stuff. The right hand, we've got the flat 9, the sharp 11, and the 13th. But more importantly, we have an A flat minor triad. Okay? So if you can hear, then you just construct a second inversion minor triad. Okay? It doesn't matter if you don't understand that. If you understand it, you'll be able to do these. If not, you can pick some simpler shapes, no problem. Now we're going to take this to the next key, right? B flat. I'm going to go up chromatically. Again, you can do it circle of fourths, circle of fifths. So what am I thinking about here? Well, I'm trying not to think too much, but I've got the remember? So I know I'm going to be root and shell, and then I got the crunch in there. Right? In the left hand, then we're stacking up a third from the left hand with thirds diatonically in the key that we're in, which is B flat minor 7, B flat minor 11. You can also think about that 11th on the top, right? So this is why the shapes start to become important. Because they're not just shapes for chords, they're shapes for improvisation. So it's the shape. Yes, I'm adding in scales too. We'll talk about that a little bit. But they're shapes for chords and they're shapes for having our hands in different places to improvise. So let's go here. And so that's the minor triad, A minor triad. And because I was able to hear, I just find that minor triad. I know that's the minor third of the triad. I don't have to think about the key it's in. Let's go to the next one. B minor 11. Shell with the crunch. Let's go. Ba-da-da-da. Now this root and shell's pretty easy to get no matter what key you're in, right? But this minor triad, that's a little harder to hear, right? But it's nice, right? And then after you play some of these, let's do a little improv on it. Even though we're not resolving it. Okay? Now we're going to go up a half step again. Root, and then shell with the crunch, half step below that third. And then we're stacking up. Starting to see the shape. And then root and shell. Minor triad. Is that right? Yeah. Yep. At a certain point, we're going to have to jump down. We don't have to, but it'll make sense to sort of jump down an octave. Okay, next one. So I'm trying not to like think about it too much. I'm just going like boom. There we go. So good. And what you should do is if you make a mistake on it or something, you're like, wait, does that sound right? Root shell, root 3 7, and then we know we got that. That. Remember we said the most important thing to hear is what's on top. what key you're in. C minor triad. Now we got D minor. Right? Root, shell, plus crunch, half step below. Then we're stacking up our thirds. Root and shell. Minor triad. You start to hear those? Let's jump down an octave and see if we can get away with that. Minor triad. Let me see if I can nail it without. Yeah. Okay, now we're getting to one I don't think I've ever played before in this key. So I'm going to want to stop in my practice or just kind of make note of that and maybe sit on this a little bit more, sort of like we did on this, on the, what was it? The blues, the keys that were harder for us. Make sure we really nail these because we want to become more familiar. Now it's starting to get a little more comfortable, right? The shape. And then I'm checking to make sure, because there's other voices we could do that are good, but they're not the same one. So I'm checking root, shell with the minor second. Root and shell. Is that a minor triad? Because I could play like that's nice too, but that's a major triad. That's something different, right? And what I would do too here is I would let me connect it with a scale that fits over this. That's the A half hold diminished. Because we don't want to use the A alter scale because that's what it neglects. That 13. It's not a flat 13, it's a regular 13. Okay. Now let's go to the next one, F minor 7 to B flat 7. So now I'm thinking, I was about to play this, which is nice, but I was like, wait, what's my top note so I can calibrate what's below it? I know that's da-da. It starts on the minor 11. That's why it's F minor 11. So I've got. See, now I'm starting to get the logic of these shapes. This E minor, right? I'm looking ahead and I'm thinking about these in a little bit different way because I'm trying to hear those triads. This is always going to be easier for me to hear, but and then I know that's going to be my note, so I build down the minor triad. Here I'm always referencing these shapes. Oh, we're back to the beginning. So let me go back to the one since I've got 35 seconds extra. I'm going to go back to the one that was kind of tricky for me. There was a couple of them, but definitely. So F sharp minor to B7. I know I've got the 11th. I go on the outside first and then I fill in root and shell plus crunch. Stacking up my thirds and then there, da, da. And I got my triad and my shell. There we are, 10 minutes of practicing shapes, taking them through all 12 keys, opening up our ears, opening up our hands. I can feel my hands going to some other positions that I hadn't been in. Practicing like this is what will get this type of stuff into your playing once you start to incorporate these shapes, and then you're going to encounter them in places that, otherwise you got to wait just until you get to an A minor 7 to a D flat 7, which is fine, but isn't it nice to be able then you can play some hip stuff over some more difficult chords. All right, that's it. Let's do a quick review. Oh, these chords, I promised I'd tell you if you made it to the end, which you've made it. This is from a great recording, Ellis Marsalis and Branford Marsalis. I believe it's called For Loved Ones. It's a little bit of an overlooked recording, highly recommended for some of the best. Ellis Marsalis playing, and Branford Marsalis, kind of, I want to say late 90s, maybe early 2000s. Great recording. This is from Stella by Starlight, from the first kind of introductory chorus that Ellis plays solo piano. So highly recommended for that. All right, quick review of what we just accomplished. Look at this. This is always fun. 10 minutes a day. We fast-tracked our practice, technique, improv over the blues, ear training, and shapes. All right. That's it. Do you guys have any questions? Thanks you guys for being here. And thanks for folks that came early. We went live early by accident. But if you're enjoying this, can you like this? I see some likes. I don't know why we say that. Oh yeah, it helps the algorithm. It just helps spread it to other people that might be interested. If you're not subscribed to Open Studio, what are you doing? Oh, while you're putting some questions together. Oh, you've got some, I see. Let me just show you this. Okay, I did a lesson on not just this voicing, but this whole introduction with a brand new transcription of everything Ellis plays in the first 2 minutes of that fantastic recording. I did it live for our OS Pro members, and it's going to be available to all our members on Friday. If you're into that kind of thing, I do something called the Jazz Piano Method. I've been doing it for like going on 11 years, actually. A weekly lesson. So this is the kind of stuff that we do. We talk about practicing for 10 minutes or 60 minutes, all different things. We've got lessons on pretty much any tune you can think of that I know. Let me see if we've got a list here. Yeah, look at that. Recordame, Panonica, Cheryl, Nardis, Revisited, Sugar, Drifted. We got a lot of stuff on there. So check that out at openstudiojazz.com if you're interested in that. Let me do a couple of questions. Shell plus Crunch, love it. Exactly. Oh, awesome. I wonder who this is. I'm sure I know them. I used to work at Snug Harbor. I spent so much time there playing. I played the reopening in 1992 when it was closed and the ownership changed with Brian Blade and Chris Thomas, and we had 3 people in the audience. That was fun. We used to play every Tuesday night there for years with that trio. Okay, I'm going to take a couple questions. Ziv, I have a problem. I can sing fast bebop lines, but when I play them, they sound terrible. So it's actually not a problem. It's just, it's a technical issue of connecting your technique with what it is that you're able to hear, which is probably the mostly connected with what you sing. So like we spend a lot of time trying to develop a vocabulary, and we think that that comes from here, but it comes from here actually, and like our understanding. And then just like when we're talking, it comes out of our mouth and our tongue and everything, but we have to have it up here. So if you can be like, do bep dip do diddly dop. So I can sing that line, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Do bep dip do diddly dop. 2, 3, 4. And then I can kind of see, well, I'm playing it pretty close to how I could sing it. But that's maybe not the hardest line, but it's got some nuances in terms of like how you phrase it and stuff like that. So we have to figure out, slow things down. 2, 3. Do bep dop, scoo diddly bop. Slow it down even more. 1, 2, 3. And think about like where you do, like how much emphasis, how long are the notes? How do you actually get what you're playing to sound like what you're singing? Because you've actually done the hard part already. This is just about training your hands to be able to do that. Now, the technical practice that we did today kind of combined with my whole scale routine that you can certainly take longer than 10 minutes a day. But even if you did that, that will start to give you like this, the finger strength, independence of the hands, independence of the fingers, which is the most important thing. You know, when people talk about, like trying to match up the phrasing and stuff. And they're like, how do you get that pop? How do you get that thing? So you have to be able to imagine it, but then you also have to have developed strength and independence of the fingers to be able to execute that separate from the actual lines. So it's a lot of like, mean, a lot of stuff I can't get into here, but like crossing under, keeping your wrist, not going, I mean, like these things have to be practiced in a real controlled environment. Then you bring that. Then you bring that back to your kind of single line playing. And then it still doesn't always come out as good as you're singing, but that's what we practice for. All right. Thanks, Ed. Thank you. Do you memorize your improv? No, I never do. Because it's not really improvisation otherwise. Now, I do play a lot of the same things sometimes just because, just like you say a lot of your things, but I don't necessarily memorize them. I do learn other people's solos, or I have, and I come back and reference those, and a lot of that stuff kind of comes out. What scale is being played over the 13 flat 9 sharp 11? That's your primary scale, I think, is your half whole diminished, that octatonic scale. That's why that kind of practice we did, the broken thirds is important. Now, why is it that instead of like the altered scale? I mean, I think it's because of that. So it kind of fits over that with that regular 13. And then it resolves to the G major. Or it resolves somewhere else. We don't know. I showed up late. Can someone explain? You just got to watch it from the beginning. It's going to be available. Okay? It'll make more sense. You don't have to go all the way to the beginning because we were just kind of BSing at the beginning because we went live early. Can you build a run like that on another video for practice? Yeah, I mean, if you look on the channel, I think Adam did something with like a thumbnail that had Oscar Peterson on it. Maybe somebody knows that's got some runs. But a lot of times it's like these ones I'm playing are actually based upon the half whole diminished, but you can also do them based on the altered scale. But it's about taking different shapes, just like we did today, and turning them into runs. So yeah, I can do something on that. We will add it to the list, as we say. Let's see what else. Boom, just looking. What's up, Ed? Ed is one of our longtime friends. Okay, yeah, how about some rhythm patterns? Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's the fun thing. Like I wasn't trying to, obviously, with these 4 ways to practice 10 minutes, like there's really a lot of things. Like once you start to, the way I actually like to use this is sort of time boxing the things I want to work on. Typically in my practice routine, I'll do like 15 minutes or 20 minutes and I'll take 3 or 4 things, right? And that'll be a practice segment, but I'm thinking about specific things, technique, rhythm, ear training, all these kinds of things. But rhythm for sure is a hugely important one. Let me go back. So any advice for choosing a scale for a chord? So like there's the method that I did there when you've got a lot of alterations, D7, D13 with a flat 9 and the sharp 11. So that's a little bit of a process of elimination. Like if you played, like what are your choices? That's the first thing for scales over a dominant chord. So D7. Don't even talk about what kind of alteration, just D7 in general. You've got your basic bob, your dominant scale. But if I play, like that's going to be your big clashing point there. So I know I want to have that sharp 11. So that would lead us to like a Lydian dominant. But then we got that, and we got that flat 9. So the 9th is clashing. So that's what leads you to the diminished to be able to fit over that. Anytime you kind of hear this sound, like C7, sharp 9, flat 13, that's going to imply altered sound. Anytime you hear this, and again with the ear training, you start to recognize this stuff. These are all sus chords. I'm moving these around, B flat sus, D flat sus, B, whatever it is, but I'm using the same scale, which is a Mixolydian scale with a little bit of a less of an emphasis on the third. Because we don't want to resolve it. So you can play it, but you're not sitting on it. Right? So that's, a couple ways. What's up, Andy? Twickenham, London. Okay, I love the neighborhoods and streets in the UK. It could be like Sticky Wicket Twickenham. It just sounds cool. Here we've got streets like Washington and Delmar. A little more basic. Thank you from Romania. That's a nice little picture of you there, Georgian. Your tutorials feel illegal to be free. They are not illegal. Boom. I'm just clicking stuff. Spending hours every day on your website. Good. Good because it leads you to practice and ideas. I go on and look. I've been looking at the Fred Hirsch and Jeff Keyser lessons. It's some of our more advanced stuff, but it's also just I wish I don't know. I got so much other stuff. I can never be I wish I'd known this when I was younger, because everything for a time. But I do enjoy kind of always, enjoy learning different things. And even as I get more advanced into my middle age, whatever that is, to be able to be kind of learning and excited about that. I'm super inspired. Did you Kawumba with Blade, McBride, Redmond before Brad pleaded to fill your boots? Long time volunteer there. I think I saw. Yes, I definitely played at Kawumba a couple times, but it was more. I was really more after Brad. Did I come? I can't remember. I played with that quartet with Blade and Redmond and McBride at the beginning, and then Chris Thomas came in, and then we also added Peter Bernstein a couple of years later. That was mostly 94, 95, 96, 97. Maybe a little bit into 98. And then I guess Brad came back for a minute. I'm not sure. But Brad was really before that. And Kawumba, if you guys are ever in the Santa Cruz region, south, about an hour or so south of San Francisco, or it could be 3 hours, depending on traffic, make sure you go check that out. One of the great jazz clubs in the world. Some of the greatest jazz enthusiasts and volunteers there at the club. It's an incredible place. It's an incredible town, of course. Beautiful part of the world, but one of the really greatest places to play jazz. I played there with a bunch of people. Fingerings. I'm not gonna have time to go through fingerings. Scale. Oh, well, the scales and tenths. Your fingers are the same as when you're doing them. That's the way I do it. So even if I'm C major and because this is how you get challenged. If you try to go the regular scale fingering, you're starting. I don't think that's a good way to do it, because as soon as you go here, you can't do that, right? C would be the only one. So it's if you want to practice getting yourself in the right position, start with your right hand and then pick up with your left hand and then pray to whatever you believe in that you don't mess up like I just did. And then try to get back on track. C is kind of the hardest. And then, force, if tenths get to be easy, 11ths, whatever. There's a lot of way to practice that stuff. You can always challenge your things. All right, we're gonna take a couple more questions, then I'm gonna get out of here and get some lunch. Do you have any advice on connecting phrases? I find that I learn lots of lines, but I'm not sure when to organically link them when actually soloing. Yeah, so you have to do some of your practice, and this could definitely be 10 minutes a day. You take a tune, So this is Night in Tunisia, of course. Take a tune. That one at tempo would be a little challenge to do for 10 minutes straight, but you could do it, or maybe 2 tunes, 5 minutes each. I'm not sure. But the idea is you're practicing. You want to use the things that you've learned, if that's from solos, from ear training, from learning solos, from just sort of like active listening, maybe different like lines that you get, you know, from shapes on voicings like we did today. You want to give yourself a chance for that to come out on a tune that you know well, right? But you don't want to be thinking at all about connecting phrases, right? Because that has to happen in the moment. So if you start, it's kind of like this, like, don't think about a pink elephant. Don't think about a pink elephant. Oh, there's a pink elephant. Like, you have to actively work on not thinking about that in order for there to be hope for it to happen, i.e. you connect your phrases. So how do we do that? Well, we play something and then we stay in the moment that we are. So if I'm like, I'm only thinking about what I'm about to play. I'm never thinking about what I just played. That's still resonating and I'm trying to build up a story, but I'm not referencing back. So like right there, for instance, I'm going to think about it a second just to show you. Like I ended there. I'm not thinking, well, how do I connect this? How long do I wait? I'm just like, I'm going up. Let me jump up and play something else. It doesn't matter if it connects or not. We will start to, as we practice like this, especially if you go through for like 10 minutes over a tune like this, you'll start to like self-regulate to a certain degree and kind of course correct as you go. But the danger is you don't want to go back on this kind of thing. You can also just like check out solos that you like a lot and sort of analyze them for how they go in and out of those lines and maybe practice those transitions that like on a McCoy Tyner solo or whatever. And then that'll start to come out in your playing organically if you give it that space, right? Mads Jensen, have you ever had to take a longer break because of stress, cancel concerts, projects? Were you anxious that you maybe couldn't return to being a gigging musician again? No, I mean, I've taken breaks, but thankfully, I mean, you know what? I probably should have taken some because of stress. Like I kind of came up, what am I? I was about to say Gen Z. I'm definitely not Gen Z. Some of my kids are Gen Z. Gen X. I'm Gen X. And I feel like, you know, holler in the comments for any Gen Xers out there, but I kind of feel like we didn't have an option to, I don't want to sound like an old fuddy-duddy, but we didn't have a chance. Like I never had the option to cancel concerts and projects and stuff. Like, I mean, I probably have the best chance now to like be picky about what I do, which I'm very thankful for. And I don't take that for granted. I don't know if that's going to last, but that's where I'm at now. But most of my career, I had great opportunities. I never really thought about it as like, oh, I'm going to take a break from doing something that is like the dream of my life, to go out and play gigs and play music for people. So I did have stress for sure. And like, it probably would have been good to cancel some things or whatever, or on the travel, but I was never in that position to do that. So there we go. We got some Gen Xers in the house. I don't know. Maybe I mean, these things of generations having this commonality of stuff, I don't know if it's actually true. It's just funny for me to talk about, but it's probably a much healthier thing that nowadays younger musicians coming up think about it more along those lines. Because like stress can be debilitating, obviously. And taking a break from things, taking a breath on the micro level of when you're practicing, but also in your life and your career is important. Now, how do we balance that with getting out there and taking advantage of opportunities that for our growth? Like we're thinking about them as growth opportunities, as opportunities to become better musicians. If we want to be a professional musician, that's a very competitive landscape. So there's not a lot of opportunities to be like, oh, I need to take a break. But if you got to take a break, you got to take a break. That's up to the highest of levels. Didn't Simone Biles take like a break from the Olympics when I'm pretty sure she knew she was going to get some more medals, but she's also thinking the long game as far as like my stress or my mental health. And I'm sorry if I'm speaking out of turn because I don't know her exact situation, but I know there was something with that, you know. So it's like, how can I be in 4 years when I'm back here killing it and getting the medals? How can I be on the gig next month? Do I have to say no to these things? Absolutely. But don't use that as a crutch either. Like you got to find that balance in there, I think. But I don't think I ever actually took a break for those reasons. I've taken breaks for other reasons though. Mostly for family related. Ooh, I like this. Hey, which courses are the best on your site for chord voicings? Genius chord warm-ups, by Adam, for sure. Jazz Chords for Beginners is really good. Chord voicings. I mean, I've got a lot of stuff on that in Jazz Piano Method, like probably too much to even go through in a year, but there's that. And then what else? I mean, harmony games, I think, is a lot of ways about voicings, or more like harmonic approaches. But yeah, Genius Chord Warm-Ups, Jazz Chords for Beginners, Magic Voicing Systems. That's a great course for really understanding on a fundamental level the voicings. Okay, I'm going to take one more question. Is that okay? I'm going to kind of jump back because I missed a lot of stuff. I'm looking at a big, long list. Boom. Okay, I'm trying to find one that I can answer. Oh, this is folks. Okay, I went all the way back to while I was doing the course. Definitely come back to this, please, and leave in the comments if you try any of these 10-minute things in real life. Like, let's commit to doing some, right? Let me know if it's helpful. If you actually were able to feel some progress. Like, we don't want to look at it as like, I practiced for 10 minutes and then at the end of it, is my playing better? It's not about that. It's very much about, like, you go to the gym and you do a focused exercise that you understand why you're doing it and why you're spending that 10 minutes. Like these 10-minute HIIT, HIIT workouts, I used to do those. And it's like you feel like you've maximized that time, and that if you kept doing that each day, that you'd make some progress after a couple of weeks or a couple of months or whatever. That's how you should feel after these sort of 10 minutes, okay? Okay, I'm going to take the last question. Can you explain how to unlearn a line? As I play this line, I can't stop. Don't ever worry about that. I used to, when I was like young pianist coming up, I would learn stuff and then I would worry, like, does this sound like cliche, or are people going to know I stole this from Herbie, or is this sound corny or whatever? Like, work on your ear training, because ear training that's the game changer right there. Like, that's going to allow so much of these other areas of your musicianship to really flourish. And it's going to allow you to sort of regulate whether or not you should play something. You don't have to unlearn it. You just don't have, you can not play it, right? But like your ears and being able to be in the moment and know what's coming next. And you're going to make mistakes sometimes and do it. It's like a relationship with someone. Like, as we mature in a relationship, we learn certain things not to say to trigger our partner, right? I'm speaking from experience here. And, you know, that's part of the reason that if you survive, a relationship survives 26 years, which we're about to have our anniversary in a couple of days here, in 2 days, that it kind of becomes easier in terms of, like, you learn things that not to say, but so you don't have to unlearn saying those, but you just unlearn using them. But then sometimes you slip up and say them anyway, you know, and that's okay. It's about being able to hear that and then take that step back. So in your practice routine, keep your ears open, develop your ear training. So when that thing happens, that you know, first of all, that line probably has some use at a certain point. You might not have encountered the musical situation to use it. But once you do encounter it, you'll be better able, you know, to be able to use it. And then if you use it the wrong place, you'll just make note of that and say, like, hey, I made a mistake. It's all good. But you can't unlearn things, just like you can't unsee things. You can get out of the habit of using them, though. That's for sure. I've gotten better at that. All right, you guys. Thanks, everybody, for being here. Have a wonderful day. Stay lifted. Stay connected through the music. Happy practicing. Peace and piano.